Many of the top free agents got signed very early, as usual in typical free agency. To start off, I'll list the honorable mentions that didn't make the cut. A few of the criteria for the cut was age, with the exception of veterans, with many years of NBA playing experience, the league's perception of the player, if the player fits team needs, and factoring in small sample sizes. Jay Scrubb only played 2 games for the Magic last season but averaged 15 minutes of playing time with 71.4% field goal percentage and 100% free throw percentage. Some team may take a flyer on him. It's worth mentioning Tony Bradley, a center who averaged 50, 60, 100 shooting splits last season. His minutes were very low, only averaging 2.8 minutes per game last season though, so didn't make the cut. He's definitely a player worth taking a flyer on as well. Myers Leonard is a decent offensive backup center who averaged 48, 39, 89 shooting splits on low minutes last season for the Bucks, but only played 9 games for the last season. It's possible some team picks him up as a backup. Unfortunately, his suspension from 2 years ago is still impacting how teams and the league perceive him. John Wall likely still has a season left in him. His playmaking skills are still there and still average 5.2 assists per game with only 2.4 turnovers per game, but his athleticism that drove his success and his shooting splits have drastically fallen off below average. After getting bought out and speaking poorly of the Rockets organization, no young team is going to want to take him, and even veteran teams and title contenders likely aren't going to want to sign him and feel pressure to play him. Goran Dragic refused to play for the young Raptors, so despite being a veteran age player, he likely won't be seeing himself signed to any young teams now. On the other hand, Boban Marjanovic, known to be a good veteran and is still a decent bench center as well, who averaged 68% field goal and 74% free throw, so is not a liability in the free throw line as well, but he's not really a rotational piece at this point, and despite the fun and positivity he brings to a team, he's not a great mentorship type of veteran for young teams. Other notable vets still available as honorable mentions is George Hill, Markieff Morris, and Austin Rivers. Garrett Temple was recently signed by the Raptors, Derrick Jones Jr. was signed by the Mavericks, Omer Yurtseven was signed by the Jazz. A few other updates during the making of this video. On August 17, 2023, Kaminsky signed with Partizan Mozart Bet. On August 22, 2023, McClung agreed to a partially guaranteed deal with the Orlando Magic. This agreement came before NBA training camp, giving McClung time to earn a spot on the roster. Nathan Knight signed a 2-way contract with the New York Knicks. Ayo Dosunmu re-signed with the Chicago Bulls. On August 3, 2023, Trendon Watford signed with the Brooklyn Nets. On August 29, 2023, PJ Washington re-signed with the Hornets on a 3-year, $48 million contract. The other honorable mentions are Stanley Johnson, Kevin Knox, Anthony Lamb, TJ Warren, Jared Butler, and RJ Hampton. Let's now break down the top 11 free agents still available to be signed this summer. 11. Rodney McGruder is a very efficient shooting guard for the Pistons with shooting splits of 41, 42, 82. The only issue is he's already 32 years old and likely already coming out of his prime, especially on a very young Pistons team, so it's understandable why they don't re-sign him. Given his age and most teams' guard depth, it's unlikely he'll be signed, but he's still a very efficient shooter. 10. Similar to McGruder being old, Javonte Green's already 30 years old, but a solid shooter with 57% field goal percentage, 37% 3-point percentage. But the real concern is his free throw percentage of 67%. He plays good defense though, but with new young guards constantly filling up the NBA, it'll be hard for him to find a team to sign him. 9. V. Mihayuk. He's 26 years old and averaged 10.6 points per game, 2.4 rebounds per game, 2.7 assists per game on 44% field goal percentage, 40% 3-point percentage, but a low 68% free throw percentage. On the Hornets last season, on 22.5 minutes per game, he's shown he can be a rotational piece, especially with his 3-point shooting efficiency on 4.7 3-point attempts per game. He's young and productive enough to find a role for himself on most benches. 8. Danny Green. Danny Green's in an interesting spot at this point in his career. He tries to be a more veteran locker room type of guy, but also appearing on ESPN and doing some broadcasting on the side in anticipation of retirement soon. While he was barely available for the Grizzlies, he was somewhat present for the Cavs last season. In the end of the day, there's not much championship experience left unsigned, especially one who won 3 titles with 3 different teams. He only played 11 games last season, but still posted shooting splits of 45, 43, 100 at age 36. Even if his veteran leadership and availability should be questioned, nobody can deny his championship experience and shooting ability, even if he is really old now. 7. Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn had a bounce back season last season, returning from a knee injury where he missed the entire season right before. He played 70 games last season, and when only looking at the 31 games he played last for the Wizards, he seems like a player some teams would be interested in signing. He averaged 7.5 points per game, 1.7 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists per game on 45, 39, 90 shooting splits for the Wizards. He wasn't as efficient when he was on the Lakers earlier last season, but looked much better in his Wizards stretch to close out the season. 6. Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross is now 32 years old and in the tail end of his career, but still a very productive player who averaged 9 points per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game on 43, 35, 86 shooting splits in only 18.4 minutes per game. Most championship teams likely need a productive bench player like him. 5. Louis King. Louis King's probably a name you never heard of. Last season, he only played one game for the Philadelphia 76ers, but scored 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal on 61.5% field goal percentage and 50% three-point percentage on 8 3-point attempts. Small sample size, but definitely can play at a starter level and more when given the opportunity. He's also only 24 years old. He's one of only 2 players in this whole list who technically averaged at least 20 points per game last season, even if he only did this in one game. On the 76ers, he's just not given the opportunity with the stacked title contending roster with Harden, Maxey, Harris, and Embiid all taking the majority of minutes. King never got the chance to play much, but when given the opportunity, he looks like a forgotten and hidden gem. Remember, Maxey was relatively unknown and is respected now by playing his way into a starter with the small chances he got. 4. Terrence Davis. Terrence Davis is a solid role player and a great cutter. Even with the reduced role last season with the Kings, he still averaged 6.7 points per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 1 assist per game in only 13.1 minutes per game. He has solid shooting splits of 42, 37, 79 and is only entering his prime as a 26-year-old. 3. JaMychal Green. JaMychal Green may be 33 years old now, but he still shot a really good 54% field goal percentage, 38% 3-point percentage, and 77% free throw percentage on the Golden State Warriors last season. He's still a very serviceable power forward in the league and can even be a good veteran for most teams now. 2. Kelly Oubre Jr. Kelly Oubre Jr. similar to PJ Washington in losing basketball, hurting his value, and they were both on the second worst team in the East, the Charlotte Hornets. Kelly's entering his prime at age 27 years old though, and coming off a career high points per game with 20.3 points per game. He's also averaging 5.2 rebounds per game, 1.1 assists per game, and 1.4 steals per game, but on below average 43, 32, 76 shooting splits. He averaged the most points per game out of everyone still unsigned. Even if his shooting splits have dipped, he could easily fill a 6-man position for most teams. A lot of teams can use a scorer like him. 1. Christian Wood. Christian Wood was once seen as a future all-star type player. He was last supposed to be the big 3 of the Dallas Mavericks team last season with Luka and Kyrie, but they failed to make even the play-in tournament and playoffs. Wood's still only 27 years old and by far the best free agent still available, as he can still be a valuable starter who's healthy. Jason Kidd did not like playing him on the Mavericks last year due to his bad defense, but nobody could deny his offensive skills, especially as a center. He's averaged 25.9 minutes per game last season with 16.6 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists per game, 1.1 blocks per game on an impressive 52, 38, 77 shooting splits. He's uniquely versatile and definitely deserves to start on an NBA team and at least be in the league. Thanks for sticking to the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe and check out one of my other videos on the screen.